Part 94. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 953. Hearing He Chui's confident words, the Chaos Hunter captain thought He Chui was joking and didn't care. Okay, then we will go on an investigation mission. If anything happens, I will contact Your Excellency Heikawi. After speaking, the assault ship continued to sail forward. After He Chui watched it go away, he began to conduct patrols and investigations according to the divided route. This is mainly to guard against whether there are large-scale chaotic creatures ambushing nearby, and to prevent personnel performing reconnaissance and removal missions from being ambushed and annihilated. This job was easy for Heikawi. With her insightful eyes, she didn't even need to carry scanning equipment and quickly completed the survey of the starry sky along the way. After several hours of sailing on the other side, the Chaos Hunter team also arrived at their mission area. A somewhat damaged large transport ship was floating quietly in the universe, surrounded by the broken remains of the frigate. According to mission information provided by the Noka Tactical Planning Department, the large transport ship and the accompanying frigate lost contact 2 months ago. It was only discovered by a passing interstellar expedition team half a month ago. It is obvious that this large transport ship is in danger. And the sudden appearance of the other party proves that this is most likely the bait thrown by Chaos, but even if they know it, the Chaos Hunter Legion still has to bite the bait to taste it. To find out in which star field this transport ship disappeared, and to recover some valuable resources inside it, this is the apparent mission of this Chaos Hunter team. Another task is to use yourself as bait to see if you can catch anything. What Hizui didn't know was that the shuttle assault ship carried a space locator. If there was a situation, he could immediately pass through the gate of time and space and call in a fleet of gods. In other words, in the world of God's throne, there is a fleet of God on standby in the gate of time and space at any time, ready to help. This is something specially prepared by itself to annihilate Iron Boken. When the assault ship approached the transport ship that was nearly 10 times larger than itself, it did not immediately send soldiers to land, but first circled it several times. The assault ship didn't stop until it locked the side armor position closest to the transport ship's data storage center, and then the melt ray cannon at the bow of the ship opened fire directly. Orange fire appeared, and a huge melted hole appeared in the side armor of the transport ship, and some internal structures were clearly visible. Open the hatch, and the first and second teams begin to land and recover the data storage core. After hearing the company captain's order, the two combat teams were already waiting at the hatch. The moment the hatch was opened, the nozzles on the armored back pushed them quickly away from the assault ship and rushed into the nearby transport ship. As soon as they arrived inside the transport ship, the captain of the first team scanned the layer of flesh-like things covering the bulkhead through his helmet goggles and said solemnly, "Company captain, we have found traces of heavily infected areas. I understand, continue the recovery mission and pay attention to the surrounding environment. You are likely to encounter powerful chaos monsters." After reminding the soldiers under his command, the company captain contacted Heikawi again and asked her about the situation there. When he found nothing unusual, he breathed a sigh of relief. As time passed, the Chaos Hunter team that entered the transport ship passed through the outer compartment and entered the internal cargo storage area. Apart from the weird and disgusting surroundings, I didn't encounter any enemies along the way, but the more this happened, the more troublesome monsters there were ahead. This is their long-term experience in dealing with chaotic creatures, because giving birth to powerful chaotic creatures will consume a lot of biological energy. Therefore, in an environment with limited biological energy, it is not a good sign to see ordinary chaotic creatures. Suddenly, several black shadows appeared in front of the passage, and the soldiers in the front row quickly aimed their heavy blast guns at their location. The next moment they looked through the goggles, they saw several figures with torn clothes and flesh exposed under the skin, approaching staggeringly. But before they could take a few steps forward, deafening gunshots rang out in the silent passage. Because there was still thin air here, the gunshots echoed far away. Removing the muzzle of the gun that was emitting a faint green smoke, the Chaos Hunter team continued to move forward, stepping over several corpses on the ground with their upper bodies blown to pieces. It seemed that the gunfire just now had disturbed the Chaos monster sleeping inside the transport ship, and in addition, humanoid Chaos bodies rushed in crazily from the end of the passage and the side roads. The Chaos Hunter team skillfully formed a defensive formation and fired alternately. The charging monsters were beaten into pieces by rounds of ion-penetrating bullets. Even if some powerful Chaos monsters were not blown into pieces, a hole the size of a human head was penetrated through their bodies. After a few steps, they fell to the ground weakly. At this moment, behind the team, a burst of fire suddenly appeared in the forked road they passed before, and the smart bomb used to block the entrance was triggered. The 4 soldiers at the rear of the team immediately turned their guns to guard the rear. A moment later, dozens of low-lying black shadows jumped out from the end of the passage at high speed. Seeing this, they pulled the trigger without hesitation, and ion-penetrating bullets trailing blue tail flames shot out, like blue lines of fire dividing the darkness. Several black figures were unable to dodge and were directly hit. Their bodies rushing forward at high speed suddenly turned into rolling gourds, but the remaining black figures climbed up the bulkhead and jumped towards them. In just a few seconds, these black shadows rushed in front of the Chaos Hunter warriors from the other side of the passage. Covering fire! A Chaos Hunter warrior shouted and rushed forward. While lowering his body, he turned sideways, and his shoulder armor slammed into the head of a rushing black figure. Suddenly the black shadow roared and flew out. Immediately afterwards, the warrior who rushed into the monster group threw a miniature explosive, and then a dazzling bright light accompanied by a concussive buzzing sound. Because of their armor protection and multifunctional goggles, the warriors of the Chaos Hunter team were not greatly affected. However, the chaotic monsters that maintained their biological characteristics were in bad luck. Chaos creatures with a radius of several meters around the explosion point rushed like blind men. The Chaos warriors responsible for covering fire saw this and shot them one by one accurately. The head of the last beastly Chaos creature was trampled to pieces by a big metal foot. After all this wave of monsters are eliminated, they are not far from the location of the data storage core, and they will soon be able to complete the recovery task. When the Chaos Hunter team was performing the recovery mission, Chui, who was in charge of alert investigation, also discovered anomalies. Through the eye of insight, Zui discovered a huge thing disguised as an asteroid. If she hadn't scanned it with the eye of insight out of curiosity, she might have missed it. After discovering that he had won the jackpot on his first mission with the Chaos Hunter team, Chui felt a sense of excitement in his heart. Zui hoped that what he met was iron-boken, so that his purpose of coming here would be accomplished. Then he can laugh at Ian's incompetence and see how she refutes him. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 954. After Chui discovered the hidden Chaos Beast, he did not attack immediately. Instead, he quietly retreated a distance and contacted the shuttle assault ship. As an angel who has experienced countless battles, Zui will not make such principled mistakes as acting without permission. If it were herself, Zui would just do it without saying a word. Even if she was trapped in a tight siege, she would have the confidence to escape, but this time there was a ship of Chaos Hunter warriors following her. If the Chaos Hunter is injured due to alerting the Chaos Behemoth, it will be her responsibility. After receiving the information provided by Heikawi, the captain of the Chaos Hunter Company in the shuttle assault ship frowned. Your Excellency, Judgment Angel, please be sure not to disturb those chaotic beasts. I will apply for support from the nearest expedition fleet and Legion headquarters. Wait until all the combatants are in place before attacking. If you alert them now, they will most likely be able to escape. Chui couldn't fault the company captain's plan. I hope you don't keep me waiting too long. Hizui could only comfort himself in this way. Although he could not launch an attack, he could still slightly block his biological signal and continue flying around the star field for a few times to see if there were any other enemies besides the Chaos Beast. The company captain who was on the assault ship on the other side hung up the communication with Hizui and immediately asked the communication personnel on the bridge to contact the headquarters of the Chaos Hunter Legion in the star field. At the same time, he did not forget to notify the God Seed world, because they would probably also need support from the other side. As for the combat team that was carrying out the recovery mission in the transport ship, the company leader informed them to speed up and complete the mission in the shortest possible time. After receiving the order, the Chaos Hunter team that was advancing forward obviously accelerated their pace, skipping some unimportant places. Soon they arrived at the warehouse passage, and ahead was the place where the data core existed. As they moved forward, there was no other sound except the dull footsteps of their armor stepping on the ground. Not even a chaotic creature could be seen. But when he turned a corner, a dazzling blue flame suddenly erupted from the chest armor of the Chaos Hunter warrior at the front, and then his whole body was slightly tilted back by the huge impact. But the Chaos Hunter warrior who was attacked soon realized that he was being attacked, and judged from the damage to the armor that the opponent was using an ion-penetrating warhead. He didn't just stand there and fight back. He lay down on the ground and rolled towards the passage where he came from, avoiding the subsequent follow-up shots. It was only then that dull gunshots were heard from the front. The following Chaos Hunter soldiers reacted quickly. One of them quickly probed and shrank his head to scan the environment in front of him. The obtained picture immediately unfolded on the goggles of all members of the team, and several tall figures were seen standing in front of the warehouse passage ahead. Judging from the armor style on his body, he was clearly a member of the same elite warriors as them, except that he belonged to a different legion. But standing there is not betraying the world of justice, nor is it betraying the goddess. Instead, after his death, his body was controlled by the chaos virus and his body was alienated. Now he has become an enemy of the righteous world. But even though they have become puppets of the chaos virus, as a former elite legion, their combat reflexes are still intact. Coupled with their alienated bodies and armor, they are very difficult enemies. As if they had discovered the Chaos Hunter team behind the corner, the chaos-infected warriors originally standing at the entrance of the passage began to move closer. After briefly discussing tactics in the communication, the 10 Chaos Hunter warriors present adjusted their positions. One of the team captains said in the communication, "Rapid-fire suppression of hot melt explosive shells, charge team is ready." Hearing this, the 6 people in the front changed the magazines on the blaster guns, and the 4 people in the back also pulled out the standard Fan Shenjian and activated the cutting mode to wait for the opportunity. Seeing that his team members were all ready, and hearing the heavy footsteps getting closer and closer, the captain of the first team raised his hand and waved forward fiercely. The next moment, 6 Chaos Hunter warriors stood in 2 rows and rushed out of the corner to mount their guns and pull the triggers. Then there was a loud sound of gunfire and a deafening roar. In less than 3 seconds, all 40 bullets from a blaster magazine were fired. At the same time, 4 figures holding Fan Shenjian rushed out following the rain of bullets. Several armored and body-altered Chaos warriors near the corner also opened fire almost simultaneously, but were soon driven back by the hail of bullets. The explosion of ultra-high-temperature plasma fluid melted holes in their armor and bodies, deforming their movements. However, the powerful vitality given by the chaos virus prevented them from falling immediately. They roared with unknown meaning, just like they did in life. They would not give up resistance as long as they could still move, trying hard to lift the blaster guns connected to their flesh and blood and continue firing. But the Chaos Hunter warriors who rushed up would not give them such a chance. The Fan Shenjian, exuding super high temperature, drew a red arc in the air, slashed through their arms, and disintegrated the most powerful weapon on their bodies. At this time, the Chaos Hunter warriors in the rear also changed their ammunition and rushed forward. They worked together to knock down the Chaos warriors and quickly fired at their heads until they stopped moving completely. After doing this and briefly preparing themselves, they stepped over the corpses of these monsters who had once been their colleagues and were now transformed into puppets of chaos and continued forward. Soon they came to the area where the data processing core was stored. The members of the team who were proficient in equipment disassembly immediately stepped forward, observed it, pulled out the Fan Shenjian and roughly removed it without damaging the data storage core. Seeing this, the captain of team number 1 immediately waved his hand to retreat, and the Chaos Hunter soldiers present quickly retreated in the direction they came from. Originally, the Chaos Hunter team planned to take a closer look at the situation of the transport ship, but the intelligence that Crane Chase continuously uploaded made the company captain in charge of the operation give up the idea. Anyway, the ship can't escape here. Instead of letting his team members risk their lives to investigate, it is better to wait for the large forces to arrive, clear out the place, and slowly investigate. What everyone didn't know was that just as the Chaos Hunter team left, a monster with gnarled muscles and a thick layer of cuticle armor covering most of its body arrived at their previous location. Hizui, who was wandering in the nearby space, discovered some chaotic behemoths one after another. After marking their locations, they sent them to the assault ship. After this period of waiting, as the space around the assault ship was slightly distorted, a blue light penetrated and transformed into a super-large destruction-class battleship. This was like a signal, and then streaks of blue light penetrated from the void and turned into large and small battleships, including 2 destruction-class ships, 10 destruction-class ships, and more than 20 destruction-class ships. This is a cruising formation from 2 expedition fleets that were temporarily deployed. As soon as they arrived, the company captain handed over his command. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 955. Hello, Lord Haikawi, I am the Commander-in-Chief of the support fleet, and my unit has arrived in this space. The shuttle assault ship you are aboard has also been integrated into our fleet command sequence. Listening to the steady and powerful male voice coming from the communication, Hichui didn't care about the change of people on the other side of her communication. She was only concerned about one issue now. Now that you're here, can we start the fight now? I have marked all the chaos behemoths I have detected. As for the situation in the wider universe, more angel warriors are needed. While Hichui was communicating with the fleet commander, Hichui frowned slightly, because in her insightful eyes, the originally sleeping chaotic beast suddenly moved. Sorry Commander-in-Chief, I have to interrupt you for a moment. Those chaotic beasts seem to have discovered something. Their bodies are rapidly reactivating and are about to wake up. The Commander-in-Chief of the fleet, who was leisurely drinking tea on the bridge of the flagship destruction-class ship, paused when he heard this, then immediately put down his teacup and said to the adjutant beside him, "Open the fleet scanning system and scan this entire space. Be fast." Upon hearing this, the adjutant quickly began to notify the ships, and the Commander-in-Chief also asked Haikawi in the communication if he needed their support. "There is no need for Commander-in-Chief. I am strong enough to protect myself. You guys should take care of yourselves first." Hearing this, the Commander-in-Chief stopped asking any more questions, because the adjutant's report came. Reporting to the Commander-in-Chief, the scanning results show that there seems to be a small biological fleet awakening from silence near us. The number of giant living signals captured alone exceeds 20. I understand. Instruct each ship to carry out targeted attacks on the Chaos Behemoth based on the coordinate information uploaded by Mr. Haikawi. After speaking, the Commander-in-Chief then said to Hizui in another communication channel, "Your Excellency Haikawi, please protect yourself next time. We are about to start a war with the Chaos Fleet, and we may not be able to take care of you in the future. Don't worry, I will protect myself. After hanging up the communication, Hisui reached out and took out his weapon, and his eyes fell on a chaotic beast closest to him. Immediately, a horizontal super-large silver energy slash was thrown out by Hisui, instantly removing one of the arms of the chaotic beast. The chaotic beast roared in pain, setting off a turbulent wave in the universe, but in the end there was no sound and it lost some of its power. As a result, Hisui revealed his location, and several chaotic beasts that were closer felt the huge energy in Hisui's body, and moved their limbs to come closer. As one of them approached, a burst of blue light surged through the gaps in the bone armor on the body's surface, and then he opened his mouth and spat out a blue breath of energy. Seeing the angel behind him, Hisui flapped his wings vigorously, and his figure suddenly rose rapidly upwards. Then, like a silver stream of light that penetrated the stars, it shot towards a giant chaotic beast. Like a nuclear bomb exploding, the dazzling light suddenly exploded, and the raging and spreading energy flames continued to devour the body of the chaotic beast. Hisui stopped in the universe not far away from the chaos behemoth. He looked at the bloody and charred abdomen that had been blasted, and the chaos behemoth roared violently. He sighed in his heart. He was really rough and thick. Because he once lacked the means of mass destruction, he frequently suffered losses in the war with the Eternal Ascended Ones. Therefore, during the time when he was wandering around the world of justice, he deliberately studied his own energy-driven formula to kill the enemy. The short-range energy burst just now is one of her achievements. The principle is similar to the blade-breaking formula. It kills by driving energy into the enemy's body and then detonating it. However, due to his lack of proficiency, Hisui had to detonate it just halfway through the energy introduction, otherwise he would definitely blow this chaotic beast to pieces. While Hisui was struggling with several chaotic beasts with ease, the expedition fleet on the other side also began to clear out all the chaotic creatures within its attack range. The destruction-level annihilation rays streaked through the dark deep space of the universe from time to time, penetrating the body of the chaotic beast on the coordinates. Even if it cannot kill with one blow, other battleships will follow up. The most difficult thing about chaotic creatures is that they know how to lurk and hide. If you are not careful, the opponent will find an opportunity to make a big news. In the past, Justice World might still have a headache when facing the chaotic behemoth, but through reverse research on the weapon technology of the Eternal Ascended Ones, Justice World's shipborne weapons have also undergone a round of upgrades. Now, as long as the gathered Chaos Army can be found, and the opponent's number and scale do not reach a certain level, the fleet of the Justice World can slowly eat them up. The attack of the fleet was like poking a hornet's nest. Chaos beasts and a biological fleet suddenly appeared in the originally calm and silent deep space. Among them, several biological warships with chaotic biological tissue attached to their surfaces are the most conspicuous, and they are warships belonging to the Chaos Rebels. Suddenly, the commander-in-chief of the fleet felt that he had hit the jackpot this time, and issued the order directly through the communication. You can let other chaotic creatures go. I'll attack those semi-biological warships hard. I must keep them. In response to the commander-in-chief's excited roar in the communication, each captain immediately ordered his warships to change their attack direction, and the shipborne annihilation cannons fiercely blasted the warships that were retreating under the cover of the chaotic beasts. Commander, what's wrong? We are being targeted by two cruise fleets from the Justice World. Inside the Chaos flagship, Iron Birkin, who was sitting on the main seat wearing bone armor and covered in flesh and blood below his face, suddenly opened his scarlet eyes, stretched out his right hand that turned into a sharp claw, and grabbed the reporter's chest armor. The voice asked, "How did they find us? Don't tell me it's because of your stupidity." Iron Boken felt that he was very irritable and wanted to tear something and pour hot blood on his body to cool down his desire to kill, but his reason allowed him to hold back. No. No, Lord Iron Boken, it's them, they suddenly launched an attack on our giant beast. Then all the behemoths woke up, and we were exposed. Hearing this, Inboken felt even more irritated. He threw his men aside and stood up from his seat. His height of more than 3 meters gave him a terrifying sense of oppression. Look at your stupid look, it's just 2 cruise fleets. We are not those mindless idiots from the Chaos Behemoths. Let the fleet turn around, rush into their fleet, and then start a killing feast. Ironboken laughed wildly as he spoke, and at the same time he swayed towards the bridge of his flagship ship. His subordinates looked at the back of their leader and felt that their boss had completely changed. The caution and cunningness of the past had disappeared without a trace, leaving only bloodthirsty sadism and cruelty and bellicosity. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 956. The Commander-in-Chief of the Expedition Fleet and Cruise Fleet looked at the Chaos Rebel warships that were being chased and fled everywhere, and his heart was extremely excited and surging. The great achievement of capturing and killing the rebel leader will fall on his head. This is a great achievement that is enough to be rewarded by the God's throne world. He might be able to join the God's fleet to serve, which is a fleet that belongs directly to the goddess. But soon his adjutant came over in a panic and poured cold water on him. Because he paid too much attention to the rebel warships, the cruise fleet unknowingly got mixed up with the chaos beasts and part of the biological fleet. Together. In the past, the captains did not pay too much attention because the opponent was spread out widely, but now the opponent suddenly began to surround the fleet, and the ships realized that they were trapped in a tight siege. No. Hurry up and order the ships to retreat and put some distance between you and the surrounding chaotic creatures. Stop attacking the rebel warships and prioritize cleaning up the surrounding enemies. Although he was unwilling to give up such a great achievement and let it slip away from him, his reason still allowed the fleet commander to issue the most correct order at the moment. But to everyone's expectation, the rebel warship did not continue to escape. Instead, it turned back and mingled with the chaotic beasts, rushing towards them. But at this moment, the ships could no longer attack the approaching Chaos Rebel warships, because the surrounding Chaos Behemoths and small Chaos monsters were desperately attacking the ships. Each battleship faced the siege of a large number of chaotic creatures and turned around while retreating and fighting. But as time passed, the shields of the destruction-class battleships in the fleet gradually became unable to hold up. Sporadic chaotic creatures broke through the force field and hit the outer armor of the ship, causing slight tremors. The closed defense array fired continuously, beating the approaching chaotic creatures into pieces of flesh that exploded in the air, but they still could not withstand the enemies who came one after another. Seeing this, the commander-in-chief of the fleet looked extremely ugly and almost gritted his teeth and said, "Contact the God's throne world and tell them that we need reinforcements from the God's fleet, and we must do it quickly. Our unit has been surrounded by the Chaos Army and cannot last long." After speaking, the commander-in-chief announced to the entire fleet and said painfully, "Comrades, in this battle, I harmed everyone because of my greed for power and reckless advancement. Now I ask you all to unite as one and hold on for a while longer. Support from the God throne world will arrive soon." After saying this, the commander-in-chief's expression became slightly more relaxed. He knew that after a battle, no matter what the outcome was, he would probably step down from the position of fleet command. As for what kind of punishment you will receive, it all depends on how much damage the fleet suffered after the battle. A few minutes later, with violent tremors, the largest semi-biological warship among the Chaos Rebels crashed into the Destruction-class flagship where the fleet commander was located. Although the size of the two sides is quite different, the biological matter clinging to the surface of the semi-biological warship begins to absorb the shield energy of the Destruction-class flagship like a living thing. Then the tentacle-like biological tissue penetrated the shield and stuck on the armor of the Destruction-class ship. Like a biological infection, it gradually spread on the armor surface. Report to the Commander-in-Chief that the outer armor has suffered unknown corrosion and its strength is gradually decreasing. Damn it, even the outer armor can be infected. Order the personnel in the outer area to evacuate into the ship and lower the barrier door. At the same time, let the escort team set up a defense line for me. We must organize the chaotic creatures to break into the core area of the ship. The Commander-in-Chief of the fleet calmly issued instructions one after another, which calmed the originally panicked bridge staff a little. Inside the destroyed flagship, a frigate guard wearing standard power armor began to assemble and set up fire points in various passages within the ship. Small dark energy rail guns and fixed blast guns were all lifted out of the weapons warehouse. We are the last line of defense for the flagship. Behind us are the lives of tens of thousands of people on the ship. We must not take a step back. Even if you die, you must die on the defensive line for me, otherwise don't blame the brothers for looking down on you. The Commander-in-Chief of the frigate was doing pre-war mobilization in the communication. As one of the battleships of the Justice world, the Destruction-class flagship naturally took into account the needs of onboard combat. Such a huge warship will naturally not be sunk and destroyed on the battlefield. The enemy often needs to enter the interior to clean it, which will cost less. Therefore, in addition to strong bulkheads to prevent enemies from destroying the passages inside the Destruction-class battleships, there are also some automatic defense weapons. And after the personnel evacuate the external area, the personnel on the bridge can still operate the shipborne automatic weapons to kill surrounding enemies. Therefore, when the Destruction-class hull was being eroded by chaos, the close-range firepower on the Destruction-class hull continued to fire, and even the main gun continued to charge. But anyone with a discerning eye knows that after the shield is destroyed by chaotic creatures, the armor defense of the destruction level itself cannot sustain it for long. Iron Boken boarded the Destruction flagship through the passage built by chaotic biological tissue. Looking around at the simple environment full of metal atmosphere and the thick surrounding bulkheads, he was very satisfied. I have decided that this ship will be our new flagship from now on. Kill me. Leave no one behind. After hearing this, the Chaos Rebel soldiers who were physically alienated roared excitedly past their leader and rushed towards the internal area of the destruction level. Iron Boken followed his subordinates slowly, his giant-like figure making the originally spacious passage a bit narrow. In fact, if it weren't for the existence of Elite Legion and Demigod Legion soldiers in the world of justice, the passages in the ship would not be designed to be so high. Now this design that facilitates the world of justice now facilitates Iron Boken, allowing him and the Chaos Warriors under his command to have unimpeded access. As Chaos Warriors poured into the interior of the destroyer, the escort fleet soon came to blows with the Chaos Warriors. Relying on the terrain advantages and powerful firepower, the Chaos Warriors could not rush through for a while, but soon some agile, beast-like chaos forms began to attack the defense line instead of the Chaos Warriors. The Chaos Warriors took the opportunity to fire cold shots at the rear. For a while, soldiers in the defense line built by the escort team would be hit by ion-penetrating bombs from time to time. The terrifying power cannot be resisted by ordinary power armor. If it hits a vital part, the soldiers of the escort team will die immediately. Of course, the Chaos Warriors were also injured. After all, the power of the weapons in the hands of the frigate guards could not be overshadowed. While the chaotic creatures and the cruise fleet were entangled, a silver stream of light suddenly broke into the battlefield. Looking around, Hizui saw the Destruction-class battleship that had been eroded by chaotic biological tissue. Although the other battleships were not in the same situation, they could still protect themselves for the time being. This one was about to merge with the chaotic biological tissue. Heikawi immediately swung his sword and threw out a silver energy slash, cutting off the tentacle-like thing connecting the Destruction class and the Chaos battleship. Immediately, several giant energy slashes flew towards the Chaos warship, but were blocked by a dark energy field. However, when the three energy slashes landed on the force field, the Chaos warship's force field immediately even if it is declared broken. In an instant, 3 huge gaps appeared on the Chaos warship's hull, and bursts of fire appeared from the internal biological tissues and disconnected lines from time to time. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 957. Iron Boken, who was inside the Destruction-class battleship, almost simultaneously received the news that his flagship had separated from the battleship beneath him and had been severely damaged by the Angel of Judgment. Those stinky bitches. They ruined my good deeds many times. Iron Boken was so angry that he wanted to jump. With nowhere to vent, he could only sweep away his surrounding subordinates and bombard the bulkhead to vent his anger. But then he suddenly regained his composure from his rage, and the change was so rapid that the surrounding Chaos warriors couldn't help but move slightly away from their commander. Keep attacking, I'm going to survive this time. Iron Boken passed over his subordinates, and his cold voice made the surrounding Chaos warriors feel tense. Shoot. Don't stop. In the defense line of the destruction-level main channel, the commander of the frigate kept roaring in the communication, and the light blast gun in his hand kept spitting bullets towards the end of the channel. One after another, the Chaos warriors and beast-shaped chaos forms were shot to death midway, and fell to the ground, leaving half of their bodies steaming. Facing the narrow passage, the numerical advantage of the Chaos warriors and Chaos body was extremely limited, and they were unable to break through the terrifying fire blockade of the frigate guards. It would take a long time to destroy the thick bulkhead, and for a while the Chaos rebels were stuck in the outer area of the destruction level. But with the appearance of Iron Boken and the severely alienated boss of the Chaos rebels, the balance was quickly broken. Iron Boken raised his hand to block his face and pushed forward like a heavy tank against the concentrated fire of the frigate guard, and soon approached the defense line established by the frigate guard. The Chaos body and Chaos rebels hiding behind Iron Boken flashed out in an instant and pulled the trigger of the blaster gun at the approaching frigate guard. For a moment, fire continued to explode on the bodies of the frigate guards, holes were shot out of the surface of the power armor, and bright red blood oozed from the inside. You weak mortals dare to stand in front of me. All of you will become the nourishment of chaos. Iron Boken's claw-like hands reached forward and pinched the head of a frigate guard soldier, and with a force, the armored helmet he was wearing and the skull inside were squeezed out of shape. Then he threw the corpse in his hand and knocked down the 2 frigate guards. Iron Boken strode forward, and the heavy footsteps struck the hearts of the frigate guards like a heavy hammer. The weapons in their hands clearly hit Iron Boken and caused considerable damage to the weak points of its armor, but Iron Boken's wounds would heal themselves quickly. It's a high-level chaos body. Hit him with an incendiary warhead. Otherwise we will all die here. Among the frigates who shot Iron Boken, a veteran who had participated in the Great Expedition saw that Iron Boken's wound healed quickly and quickly shouted on the communication channel. When a frigate guard at the back heard this, he immediately lowered his gun to change the ammunition, but Iron Boken did not give the frigate guard a chance to hurt him. Like a heavy-duty map pusher, Iron Boken's huge figure directly knocked away all the escort soldiers in front. The chaos monsters following him swarmed up like loyal hounds and began to tear away the armor of the frigate guard soldiers who fell on the ground. After several frightened screams, the warrior who was still struggling among the monsters finally lost his movement. Iron Boken continued to move forward, intending to enter the bridge of the destruction class and control the battleship and the senior officers inside. This might make the Judgment Angel take action. While Iron Boken was wreaking havoc inside the destruction class battleship, Tsuryui also finished taking care of the Chaos Rebels flagship. First, he used his tough body to ram through the enemy ship, and then injected huge energy into the interior of the battleship, causing the battleship to disintegrate itself in constant micro-energy bursts and turn into countless tiny fragments. After doing this, Hizui looked at the several large holes corroded by chaos on the surface of the destruction level, leaned forward and swooped in. You don't need to think about it to know that a chaotic body must have invaded the interior of the battleship, and judging from the fact that some of the closed defense turrets on its surface have stopped firing, it is obvious that the outer area of the destruction class has been lost. Now that we have saved this battleship, we might as well save it to the end. It won't take much time to clean up some chaotic bodies anyway. Therefore, Heikawi didn't pay too much attention. All the chaotic creatures and chaos warriors she encountered along the way were cut into two pieces by her speed. This state was not broken until Heikawi rushed into the main passage leading to the core area inside the destruction level and saw a group of Einboken and his team in front of them whose bodies were highly alienated and obviously not ordinary chaotic creatures. Seeing that his high-speed raid was narrowly dodged by Iron Boken, Hichui let out a sigh, and then the figure flying at high speed turned around several times to release the potential energy from his body and landed steadily in the passage. Although he was surprised that these few existences were obviously different from other Chaos Warriors, now was obviously not the time to investigate. Crane followed his hand and threw out a small energy slash. But this was not the case in Einboken's eyes. In his eyes, the attack launched by the Crane's follower was like a sword energy that could divide space, cutting through the bulkheads along the way and attacking at high speed. In the end, only Einboken and his two deputies escaped by falling to the ground with their sharp reflexes. The expressions on the faces of many Chaos Warriors present froze, and then their upper bodies slid to the ground, with smelly blood splattering everywhere. Hizui frowned in disgust and prepared to send out a small flame bomb to burn the corpses here and clean up the environment. But the next moment a hail of bullets hit. Hichui changed his movements temporarily and swung the broad-blade longsword in his hand several times, knocking away the incoming bullets. But soon some explosive bombs mixed in the rain of bullets suddenly exploded, and the sputtered metal and high-temperature ion energy covered it like an unfolding curtain. Seeing that the terrifying Angel of Judgment was covered by their attacks, the morale of the remaining Chaos Warriors on the scene was greatly boosted, and they shot even more vigorously. Iron Boken also raised the heavy blaster gun in his hand and fired forward while striding forward. Hichui raised her hands to protect her face, and irregular blue balls of light exploded on her body. Originally, she wanted to move sideways to dodge, but the surrounding terrain was too narrow, so she failed to find a good angle and was barraged all over. But neither the armor nor the divine body on her body could be destroyed by these ordinary blaster bullets. When he felt an enemy approaching, Hizui directly drove the dark energy to launch an all-round energy impact with no blind spots. Like a circle of expanding and exploding air masses, whether it was the bullet, the approaching Iron Boken, or even the surrounding thick bulkheads, they were all thrown upside down by the impact of the sudden explosion, and the thick bulkheads were even more impacted. A collapsed pit appeared. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 958. You are quite stubborn, then I will kill you all. Hichui admired when he saw that none of the Chaos Warriors escaped. But then a forward charge dragged out an afterimage behind him and came to a Chaos Warrior with a gun raised. The silver broad-blade longsword in his hand cut through a graceful arc from one side of his body, and then from the other side. Cut out. Seeing this, other Chaos Warriors on the side turned their guns and fired at the location where Hichui appeared, but the bullets penetrated Hichui's figure and missed. That turned out to be the afterimage left in their eyes because Hichui was too fast. The next second Hichui appeared in front of another Chaos Warrior and split his body and weapons in half. Heikawi's figure was seen flashing frequently among the Chaos Warriors, and every time a Chaos Warrior fell to the ground. In less than a few minutes, hundreds of elite Chaos Warriors who boarded the ship with Einboken were completely killed by Hizui. Only Einboken and several Chaos leaders did not lose their lives in the indiscriminate killing that Crane had just chased because of their distance. But after Hichui killed all of Iron Boken's men, he naturally noticed these few fish that had slipped through the net. Because Einboken's figure was highly alienated, and his face was much more ferocious and distorted than in the video data, Chui did not recognize this person as his target. There are only a few of you left now. If you surrender, you might be able to live for a while longer. Zui had a faint smile on his face and walked towards them as he spoke. The blood stains on the long sword in his hand evaporated under the high temperature of dark energy, leaving only the spotless silver blade. Einboken did not answer Hizui's words, because the other party was obviously joking. And after realizing that he had no way to escape, Ironboken roared and rushed towards Heke first, firing the blaster gun in his hand and firing a series of ion-penetrating bullets. Hizui stood up his sword and adjusted the angle of the sword frequently. The flight path of the ion-penetrating bullets hitting the sword shifted and was guided to one side under the inertia of the force. Taking advantage of the gap between Einboken's shooting, Chui leaned forward and approached the opponent with an upward strike, cutting off the weapon in his hand, and then raised his foot and kicked him out. Ironboken's huge body immediately flew out and hit the thick bulkhead, leaving a shallow dent. Then, before Ironboken could get up, the long sword in Chui's hand grazed his neck, leaving a headless body there. Just when Hakui was about to shake off the dirt on the sword, Ironboken's headless body moved again. Black tentacles came out of his body, and his chest cracked to both sides, exposing layers of stacked fangs. In an instant, Ironboken's corpse turned into a monster waving dozens of tentacles and with a ferocious mouth open on its chest. Chui jumped back to close the distance between him and Einboken's body, frowning at this scene. She knew that chaotic creatures would mutate after suffering heavy injuries, but this was an ability that only some special chaotic creatures had. As for the tall chaos rebel who was killed by him just now, apart from having good combat intelligence, there was nothing special about him. How could there be any changes in his body? Although he was thinking about this, it did not hinder Chui's attack. The blazing energy began to boil on the long sword in Chui's hand. Accompanied by a surge of energy that was like a raging flame, Ironboken's body struggled and twisted and turned into ashes as soon as he completed the mutation. After clearing away the remaining Chaos Warriors and the invading Chaos creatures, Chui came to the remains of the frigate guard that was no longer human and sighed. Pity. After Hizui left these words, he spread his angel wings again and began to move forward at high speed along the passage, intending to clean up the chaotic creatures in other areas. After a period of melee between the outside world and the Chaos Army, each ship of the expedition fleet and cruise fleet suffered some damage. 2 destruction-class ships have even been destroyed because their shields were broken, which made the fleet commander feel heartbroken. But the persistence of the cruise fleet was also fruitful, as a ripple appeared in the space, and then it shattered. A large-scale God's fleet, consisting of several destruction-class ships and a large number of destruction-class ships, sailed out from it, spraying out dense annihilation beams. The main ship of the God's fleet is the destruction class. Its armor and firepower are much stronger than the destruction class of the expedition fleet. In addition, it also has some special weapons. It is not easy to wipe out the Chaos Army. Hizui had no intention of stealing the limelight from these big guys. He found a place on the side of the destruction-class ship and sat down, and began to appreciate the scenes of the war taking place in the starry sky. After the war, Alan, the envoy's resident, sat in his seat on the second day without saying a word. He bit his lower lip lightly, feeling that he had been possessed by the god of mold in the past few decades. She had been chasing Ironboken for decades, but she had only killed some of his leaders and minions. But as soon as Hizui arrived here, he bumped into him on his first mission. If it hadn't been for statistics after the war, the world of justice would not have known that Ironboken was dead. Just now, Chui Huan contacted her specifically about this matter and boasted about his good luck for a long time. Binghua from the God's Throne world saw the news of the annihilation of Einboken and casually turned over it. After handling some government affairs, he continued to develop his own sacred atom manipulation algorithm. The world of justice is slightly calmer, but the situation in the known universe is different. The war between Thane's civilization and Hayden's civilization has reached a fever pitch. Langzing can no longer stand aside and is dragged into the quagmire of war by Thane. With the support of Styx, the Thane civilization was 1 against 2. The Hayden civilization could only remain on the defensive even with the support of the Angel civilization, and the strategic initiative fell into the hands of the Thane civilization. Seeing that the Hayden civilization was difficult to fight, the Thane civilization did not keep pushing forward. Instead, it focused on the land star, preparing to kill the weakest one first and return a wave of blood first. Talking. The Langzing people were in tears at this. Their peripheral defense system was directly penetrated, and the sharp military front of the Thane people was directed at the core star field of the Langzing people. At this time, the Langzing people thought of uniting with the Hayden civilization, but the Hayden people still remembered that the sky was ready to reap the benefits, and had been delaying the discussion of the alliance, preparing to beat the other party. In the Kamigawa Tiendeo galaxy, which the Angels are most concerned about, the coalition composed of the Islanders and the Thunderblade stars finally went to war with the Liang civilization. The fleets of both sides fought a battle first, and the Liang side suffered some losses, but relying on the celestial fortress of Yungziao Tianting, they were not defeated directly. But this also caused a series of bad consequences. Several key barrier planets outside the Liang civilization fell into the hands of the Thunderblade and Island Coalition forces. During this battle between the two sides, Angel saw a lot of things. First of all, the Thunderblade civilization had installed large-scale god-killing armor-piercing bullets. Both Island and Liang also had huge reserves of god-killing crossbows. This is not good news for the Angel civilization, which shows that their equipment advantage is being gradually equalized by these civilizations. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 959. In the Kamigawa Tiendeo star territory, a figure covered by a purple robe, wearing a white hood and a silver metal mask left the Thunderblade Island Alliance. Sir Snow, everything is progressing smoothly at present. The army of Thunderblade and the Islanders has approached the scope of Divine River Heavenly Way, and will soon be able to penetrate into the interior of Liang Heavenly Way. At that time, the two sides will no longer have the possibility of peace talks. Ming Yi, you have done a good job, Lord Karl will give you the reward you deserve. The purpose of calling you back this time is to upgrade the Void Engine for you. Your current strength is still too low among gods. If you want to have a greater say in the coalition of Thunderblade and Islander, you need to strengthen your strength. It just so happens that our god's research on the Void Engine has made some breakthroughs. Although Snow didn't say it explicitly on the other side of the communication, the hint was already obvious. Ming Yi was very happy when he heard this. What did he do for the purpose of working for Karl, the god of death? It was not just for power. Only Karl, the god of death, in the entire known universe would so generously improve the strength of those who served him. Just when Ming Yi was still fantasizing about waiting for him to improve his strength, become a top battle god, and dominate the Thunderblade stars, an undisguised dark message scanned across his body. This shocked Ming Yi. He quickly stopped flying and looked around the starry sky vigilantly. At the same time, he did not forget to activate his dark information scanning ability to detect the existence that had just scanned him. Soon Ming Yi knew who the person who scanned him just now was, because the other person had no intention of hiding it. The lackey of Karl, the god of death, did not hesitate to instigate the Thunderblade stars to attack Liang for his own benefit. Your sin cannot be forgiven. Angel Len incited the angel wings to appear from the void and took off the optical disguise on her body. She had been waiting here for a while. The reason why she intercepted this guy who was hiding his head and face was because Angel's informant in the coalition found a chess piece that Styx had placed inside the coalition and confirmed that the identity of the chess piece was the person in front of him. Although even killing this Karl's chess piece could not prevent the conflict of civilizations in the Kamigawa Tiandeo galaxy, Kesha still sent Leng to carry out this interception mission. As for the reason for doing this, it was simply to tell Karl that all the angels knew about the little tricks you did, and it was also to cut off Karl's few tentacles. It doesn't matter even if they are discovered by the Thunderblade stars. The overt and covert fighting between Angel and Styx over the years has been on the surface. The two sides have not started a full-scale war, but they are looking for opportunities to weaken the other's strength and influence. The number of working angels in Merlo Heaven is limited, but the available talents under Karl in the Styx galaxy are even rarer, and one less person dies. Therefore, over the years, angels have been clearing out the lackeys of the Styx galaxy and clearing out the hidden stakes and chess pieces placed by Karl in various civilizations. Karl also puts some of his own experimental bodies at the borders of the Just Order from time to cause trouble for the angels. What the two sides lack now is the means to kill each other. Karl lacks an army that can defeat the angel civilization head-on. The angel civilization cannot find a way to completely eliminate Karl for the time being, and does not want to face his endless revenge after destroying the Styx. After all, the angel family has a big business and has too many things to take into consideration, so both parties can only create trouble for the other party and slow down the other party's development. Especially in the past 100 years, the angels no longer bothered to hide anything. Leng directly blocked the vicinity of the coalition forces and Liang battlefield to prevent Mingyi from escaping. Angel Leng, what evidence do you have to prove that I colluded with the god of death, Karl? I am the commander of the Thunderblade Stars Joint Command. Even if I have a connection with Karl, the god of death, it's not your angel's turn to take care of it, right? Your hands are stretched too far. Although Mingyi was nervous, his tone of voice was very calm. Do you know in your heart that you should die? Angel Leng didn't want to talk nonsense with Mingyi at all. Before he finished speaking, the flaming sword in his hand suddenly ignited with raging energy flames and pressed towards Mingyi's position. Seeing this scene, Mingyi turned around and ran away towards the nearest planet, not daring to fight Leng at all. Seeing this, Leng clicked her tongue in displeasure, because she had killed too many hidden stakes in the Styx in recent years, resulting in a bad reputation among various civilizations. To be arrogant or domineering is trivial, but no civilization dares to object to Leng's strength. Therefore, in recent times, some Styx chess pieces have been coldly intercepted and hidden. The opponent will run away as soon as they see her, which often requires her to expend a lot of energy to complete the task. Mingyi contacted Snow while escaping, and soon the communication between the two parties was connected. As soon as Mingyi came up, he briefly summarized the situation he was encountering. It's really too much of a lie. A mere angel Leng dares to repeatedly intercept and kill my god Karl's people. Mingyi, I already know where you are now. I will arrive soon. Today I will let Kesha lose one arm. Snow, who was in the Styx galaxy, clenched his fists. When Snow heard Snow's words, his nervous heart finally relaxed a little. But then when he thought of Angel Leng chasing after him, his mind became tense again. Relying on the energy characteristics of the Void Engine, Pluto escaped very quickly and landed on the surface of the nearest planet in the blink of an eye. Angel Leng also arrived almost at the same time, and without mercy, he struck down with a flying thrust. There was a loud bang and the ground shook, and pieces of earth and rocks were splashed into the air by the explosive energy. Because Mingyi was too close to Angel Leng's landing point, his whole body was directly thrown away by the impact of the explosion. However, Mingyi took advantage of the situation and used his strength to distance himself from Angel Leng. As soon as he landed on the ground, his whole body disappeared into the surrounding space and disappeared without a trace. The next moment, a flaming sword broke through the dust and fog that had not dispersed, and sank into the position where Mingyi stood before disappearing. Angel Leng immediately rushed over, grabbed the flaming sword that had sunk into the ground, pulled it out, and scanned the surroundings with a pair of blue eyes. Angel Leng is convinced that Mingyi is definitely still here because she did not capture the energy fluctuations using space and wormholes. In fact, Mingyi was right next to Angel Leng, not daring to move at all. His own dark energy reflection signal was shielded by the void engine, and his body was almost integrated with the space. Beings who are not proficient in space-time technology cannot detect the anomalies in the space he is in at all, but before Mingyi can relax, his heart gets excited again. Because Angel Leng did not leave, but opened his eyes of insight and began to read the information and data here, while scanning the surrounding space to look for abnormalities. Leng soon discovered something, and threw out the flaming sword in his hand. The next moment, Mingyi's figure appeared directly from the void with the flaming sword half embedded in his chest. "You're pretty good at hiding, but if you want to hide from the angel's insightful eyes, your level is still a little behind." Leng pulled out the flaming sword inserted into Mingyi's chest and said something disdainfully. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 960. You are too arrogant. I am a member of the Thunderblade civilization. Aren't you afraid of provoking a war between Thunderblade civilization and Angel civilization? Mingyi covered the wound in his abdomen that was pierced by the flaming sword, and moved back as he spoke, hoping that these words would make Angel Leng turn around and leave in fear. But he knew that this hope was too slim, because everyone was blocking him at the door, so how could he be afraid of the civilized coalition forces so close at hand? Moreover, it is impossible for the coalition forces to declare war on the angel civilization for him at this time, otherwise it would be difficult to handle if Liang and the angels get involved. Angel Leng didn't think much about it at all. She only knew that Karl, the god of death, had planted hidden stakes to disrupt the known universe and start a war between various civilizations. What she did was to make the known universe a better place, to stop the conspiracy of Karl, the god of death, and to better protect the world of justice and order. Therefore, when Mingyi tried to interfere with her judgment with words, Angel Leng pierced Mingyi's chest without hesitation. Immediately, the flaming sword began to spread destructive energy, quickly destroying Mingyi's super gene. Soon his expression froze, and that trace of unwillingness was deeply hidden in his eyes. After doing all this, Angel Leng was ready to leave, but the next second a purple space insect door appeared next to Mingyi's body, and Snow wearing a metal skull mask walked out of it. "Angel Leng, you killed my underworld guard and just want to run away like this. Don't you think too well?" Snow's tone was cold. "Now Angel and Styx are about to declare war, so I can't act more secretly." Angel Ryu answered Thornton's words immediately, but looked at the two half-animal monsters that followed Thornton. One head is fiery red and looks exactly like a creature you have seen in China. By the way, it seems to be a crocodile. It is wearing layered metal heavy armor and holding two small axes. The other one has a unique head of a Sangha wolf, his lower body is covered with brass-colored armor, and he holds an axe and staff. He looks thin and slender, far stronger than Asuka's other companion. But Angel Ri has long passed the age of judging weakness based on body shape. Although he cares on the surface, he is secretly on guard in his heart. So what if I kill him? It's because their Styx's hands are too long. As the defenders of justice, you angels naturally need to judge the villains who instigate discord with civilization. This is true to the name of justice. Angel Ri was directly slapped on Styx as a provocateur, and there was no fear in his words. Thanks to their angels claiming to be righteous, did their king Kesha say that he was interfering in the affairs of other civilizations. Now he has set his own rules as to why he has to do household chores and interfere in the affairs of the Kamigawa and Tiandao galaxy. Or is it that their angels have already planned to intervene in the war between Liang, Thunderblade, and the S-lands out of respect for their face? If that's the case, you'd think the entire known universe should know about that and see the true nature of their angels. Thornton opened his arms and spoke without mercy, refuting Angel's words. TCH, Skullface, after saying so little, you still have to fight with real swords and guns. Stop being ink-stained. Let's get together 8 of them. Look, you're going to beat the shit out of them. The angel's hot sword pointed at Thornton, directly interrupting Thornton's tirade, and at the same time, the atmosphere at the scene became tense. Kang Liang also spoke again. The positions of the two sides were inherently hostile, and they needed a reason to start a fight. The reason for having a long argument was to put himself on the right side and attack the other side's psychology. It is obvious that Ri is an angel who blindly advocates the concept of justice. Thornton's remarks not only did not hurt Ri's psychology, but also aroused your anger. Hus, the crocodile god, Hus, the wolf god, it's time for Snow to witness their strength and kill you. Thornton did not take action himself, but said something to the two brothers who were busy beside him. Oh, can I eat you now? I feel the smell underneath you is so good, I'm so greedy that my mouth is watering. Husifugeo's body was like a hunting beast, but he seemed to have thought of something and did not attack immediately. Instead, he turned to ask Kang Liang first. Housework, even if he eats you, you guarantee that little Snow will reward him, but it will make him eat less. Thornton's tone was helpless, but he still answered Crocodile God Hus' stupid question. The wolf god Hus next to him also grinned and let out a burst of laughter that sounded like a broken wind. Why is he laughing? Ugly. When Hus heard this, he got angry and shouted angrily at Carl. Who is he calling ugly? You think he is ugly, but you are his little brother. When Carl heard the words "four ugly monsters," the half-closed eyes under the wolf's head immediately opened wide, and he said to Kang Liang with fullness. You damn brother, we both look the same, how could he be my brother? After Hus finished speaking, he paused for a moment and then continued. And he's so ugly, so you're the one who recognizes him. Carl raised his finger and pointed at Hus for a long time before holding back a sentence. He's also very good looking. Look at his exposed fangs and fully developed claws. He's a fully fledged beast, and he also knows who the ugly ones are. Like a ignited explosive barrel, Hus's eyes suddenly turned red. He raised the little U in his hand and was about to lower it towards Carl's wolf head to open my eyes. Kang Liang was also willing to show off his strength, and a faint purple energy flame burned on his body, like the fire of the underworld in mythology. The angel watched the quarrel between the brothers Hus, the crocodile god, and the wolf god Hus with no interest, feeling that the two brothers were missing a string in their heads. As for the two brothers who dislike each other, I feel that there is no need to suggest to the Snow villain before this matter that the brains of the 7 of us should be rebuilt. That's enough. Do they want to go back and accept the reward from Snow? Kill this angel first, and let the two brothers have a good argument before going back. Hearing this, Husai and Kang Liang snorted at the same time and turned their heads in disgust. You are mine. Holding 2 small axes, Hus lay on the ground like a wild beast, and then turned into a fiery red phantom and rushed backwards. Carl, on the other hand, was holding an axe and staff and stepped forward quickly or tightly, showing no intention of competing with Hus. Have you finally finished the quarrel? Now let you weigh whether their strength is worthy of their arrogant tone. The angel raised his body with heat, adjusted his center of gravity, and red energy flames appeared under the flaming sword. Then he flapped his wings to face the charging Hus. Just when the 7 were about to collide, Hus's ferocious face showed a hint of cunning. Red and yellow energy flames appeared under the 2 small axes. Hus lifted them to the back of his head and rotated his body backwards like a drill. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 961. Faced with this sudden change, Angel Leng dodged sideways to avoid Thornton, who was charging forward like a drill, and kicked him away with a flying kick. Energy burning. Just hearing a long voice, the wolf god Hus raised his axe and staff, and a ball of purple energy flame flew out, blooming in the air in an instant, covering a radius of several hundred meters. Within this area, the earth, air, and even space seemed to be burning, and Angel Leng's body naturally ignited with purple flames. However, the power of this raging flame is not strong, and it has been slowly eroding the surface force field defense of his divine body. Fortunately, his divine body model is an indestructible body that focuses on physical defense, and can basically ignore its burning. Can you watch carefully when you set the fire? I'm also on fire. Thornton rolled around on the ground several times, but he couldn't put out the purple flames burning on his body, and he yelled at Hus angrily. Accidental injury, I will destroy it for you right now. Hus raised his hand in embarrassment, and the flames on Thornton's body dissipated together with the flames in the air. Only Angel Leng's body was still burning with dots of purple flames. Seeing these two guys who seemed to be playing tricks, Angel Leng gritted his teeth, feeling that he had been underestimated, and raised his hand and swung out two swords. An extremely solid giant flaming cross cut through the ground and rushed towards the direction of Hus. Seeing this, Hus couldn't care less about arguing with Thornton and quickly stepped aside. Seeing this, Thornton no longer wanted to argue with his brother, because Angel Leng's blow had already given them a sense of danger. Still starting as before, Thornton rushed towards Leng's position like a death spiral that rushed forward. Dazzling energy sparks splashed between the continuously cutting axe and the flaming sword. Although Angel Leng blocked Thornton's advance, he was unable to stop the opponent's spiral cutting. After a moment of stalemate, Leng took the lead in jumping back to dodge. After this time, Leng no longer wanted to confront Thornton head-on. Faced with his thrust, he dodged directly, but Thornton stretched out his hand to support the ground with great flexibility, and spun forward again. After finding that he couldn't get rid of it after several hits, Leng simply stopped hiding. The flaming sword raised its blazing energy and concentrated it on the sword body, dyeing it with a red coat. Thornton felt the burning heat coming from the top of his head and screamed in his heart, but it was already too late. The blazing energy suddenly exploded, kicking up large amounts of earth and rocks. Thornton felt like he was being thrown away like a ball. He landed on the ground and bounced a few times before rolling to the side of Hus. It hurts me to death. Thornton jumped up from the ground and kept blowing on his charred arms to relieve the pain of being burned by the flame energy. Leng frowned slightly. Although the attack just now was just a hasty flame bombardment, it was not something that ordinary gods could withstand. Unexpectedly, the crocodile god Thornton looked not very good, but he was quite resistant to being beaten. But Leng didn't believe that the crocodile god Thornton's divine body could still block it when faced with the cutting force of a flame-level weapon. Thinking of this, Leng swooped out and rushed towards Thornton's position. Energy lag. It was still the long voice from before, accompanied by an invisible force field. Leng suddenly felt that the dark energy in his body was disturbed. Although it was not to the point of being unusable, it was very uncomfortable. But this did not stop her from launching an attack until the wolf god who stood in front of Thornton, and the axe staff in his hand burned with purple energy flames and slammed it down. Boom! A circle of purple energy vented towards the surroundings. Hus was directly knocked away by the kinetic energy accumulated by the acceleration of Angel Leng's attack. He landed on the ground and slid backwards for hundreds of meters before stopping. Angel Leng stepped into two deep holes on the ground and shook her head. The impact just now was too hard, and she also suffered a lot of backlash. At this time, a figure holding a pair of axes passed through the earth and rocks that had not yet fallen, with a red light in his bloodthirsty eyes. Without waiting for Leng to regroup, Thornton spun around in the air, and the two axes in his hands flew out like windmills, cutting the dust floating in the air in half. In the critical situation, Leng's body fell backwards, avoiding the U-blade that was cutting close to his face. Then the angel's wings instigated and dragged Leng's body to move sideways to the ground, allowing Thornton to spin down with the W that changed from horizontal to vertical. Empty. Seeing that his attacks were all in vain, Soden was so angry that he wanted to jump, and then continued to chase Leng Kui, who was flying upside down. Leng is very calm compared to the violent Thornton. This is due to her training in the justice world, which allows her to not get carried away no matter what situation she faces in battle. In fact, whether it is the crocodile god Thornton or the wolf god Hus, their combat power is still a little behind the third-generation gods. It is not difficult to deal with them, but Leng has been wary of Snow not far away. Leng Ke did not think that this agent of Karl, who was rarely recorded in the angel database, was a weak person. Just as Leng guessed, Snow was looking for opportunities. He was good at concealed assassinations, and his combat effectiveness would be greatly reduced when facing highly alert enemies. Not to mention Leng, a being with the divine wings of an angel. Maybe when he attacks the other party is also waiting for him. This time he brought the crocodile god Thornton and the wolf god Hus here. The main purpose was to test the difference in the top combat power of the two newly born half-animal gods of war and the angels. Another purpose is to see if there is a chance to keep Leng and let Marrow Heaven defeat a top battle god. But at present, it seems that the crocodile god Thornton and the wolf god Hus cannot retain each other, and there is even a risk of being eliminated by the other party. On the other side, Leng felt a little pressure after the wolf god Hus got up from the ground and joined the battlefield. It's not that the wolf god Hus is strong. What's difficult to deal with is his energy burning and energy lag. One weakens the defense and attack power, and the other hinders energy mobilization. With the cooperation of the two, the power of Leng's flaming slash will drop by several % out of thin air, and the power will attenuate greatly as the distance increases. After struggling for a few more minutes, seeing that there was no movement from Snow's side, he took a deep breath and realized that the other party was not fooled after all. She originally wanted to kill Snow, Karl's representative, even if she risked being injured today, but it seemed that the other party did not intend to give her this opportunity. In this case, let's end this battle as soon as possible. Leng slashed down with his sword. The pressed Sotan half knelt on the ground with two axes in his hands. As Leng continued to exert force, Sotan was directly pressed into the ground. The running Hus was forced back by Leng Yi's sweep, and then Leng Yi flew into the sky, holding the flaming sword high above his head. In an instant, the sky darkened, and the radiation energy from stars scattered in this space quickly converged on the flaming sword in Leng's hand. Snow felt the terrifying energy fluctuations and secretly screamed, "Crocodile god Thornton and wolf god Hus couldn't die here without any reason." A purple space wormhole emerged and swallowed Thornton, who was burrowing underground with his head held up and his butt raised, and Hus, who had a solemn look on his face. Seeing that everyone was running away, Leng stopped the heavenly blade judgment algorithm, dissipated the gathered energy, and snorted. "You guys can run fast." Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 962. Although Leng had eliminated the chess pieces that Karl had planted in Thunderblade and Island Alliance, this did not stop them from thinking about using troops against Liang. After Liang gave up some insignificant planetary systems, seeing that the coalition forces had no intention of stopping, they also gathered heavy troops to prepare to resist their attack. General Pan Zhen, the Liang army has all entered the defense lines of each planetary system, and several sacred guardians are also in place. Above the Yungxiao heavenly court, a Liang army soldier entered the Yungxiao hall and half knelt on the ground to report to Pan Zhen, who was sitting on the main seat. "I understand. You go down and tell the generals participating in the battle that this battle is related to the destiny of our Liang for thousands of years in the future. We can only win but not lose." Pan Zhen's tone was unquestionable. After watching the messengers leave, he stood up from his seat and walked to the door of the hall, looking at the starry sky beyond the sky. Behind the Yungxiao heavenly court is the civilization radiated by the heavenly way of Liang. If Liang loses this time and fails to prevent the invasion of the coalition forces, then the world order established by Liang will become a joke. In the future, if Liang wants to rebuild Liang's order of heaven, the difficulty will increase several times, so this time Liang must not retreat. He must defend the legacy left by his ancestors until the new king Liang ascends the throne. Inside the Yungxiao heavenly court, a girl with back-length black hair moved her fingers slightly on a transparent pillar. The energy index of the surrounding monitoring equipment immediately began to rise in a straight line, and the liquid inside to protect the girl began to boil as time went by. Click. A crack appeared on the outermost transparent column. Near the equipment, Lei Ren and several Liang craftsmen were silently staring at the scene. Report to General Thunderblade that the male god's divine body can already withstand the side effects of star drive. That's good. Now Liang needs the power of your Liang crown prince. Lei Ren frowned but relaxed because of the news, because Liang faced the coalition of two god-making civilizations that time, and from this aspect, the situation was considered a good one. Before the mobilization of the coalition forces of Xiaoyang and Xiaoyanjian was completed, the retreat against the Liang Tiandao order world ended. Liang's simple warship formation had a peaceful exchange of fire with Mocha's Star Fleet and the Hokus Holy Tribulation Fleet. Liang fought 1 against 7 and did not have the absolute upper hand as Mocha and Xiaoyanjian thought. Instead, with the help of powerful fusion weapons and stellar drive technology, they fought us without any return and no one suffered any damage. At the same time, because the fortress-type celestial battleship Wuangxiao Tianting served as the fulcrum, Mocha and Xiaoyanjian's retreat was not smooth. So the coalition forces changed their goal from entering the world of Liang heaven to the heavenly court of Yungxiao. Only by destroying the celestial battleship lying behind us can the coalition forces continue with the subsequent battle plan. Almost no matter how hard they searched, a target as small as Yungxiao Tianting appeared in the star field. The originally dispersed coalition fleet launched a fierce attack on Yungxiao Tianting. Even the main god of the Xiaoyanjian people and the main god of the Mocha people participated in the war. Feeling the heavy tremors coming from the sky, Lei Ren sat leisurely in the small hall and drank a lot of wine. Lei Ren had no confidence in the celestial warship that Liang invested a huge amount of resources in building. The fact is, just as Lei Ren thought, the coalition forces fought around Yungxiao Tianting for several days and simply retreated. Instead, many troops were lost due to Yungxiao Tianting's counter-attack firepower. However, after several days of retreat, the coalition forces also discovered several fire-blind spots in Yungxiao Tianting Island. That is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now Lei Ren is guarding the Yungxiao Heavenly Palace alone, and the 7 little guardians of the burning sun are all there. You took that opportunity to kill the regent of Liang. If you wanted to conquer Liang's civilization before, you knew that it would take a lot of effort. Xiao Yang, the bow puller of the sky, said in a deep voice, as Horkuz, the lowest masterpiece of the former Gulans, I am an old god who has survived from the era of physical war. It is true that after killing the thunder blade of Liang Pillar, even if it takes over Liang's territory, it will be safe, because the opponent cannot take it back at any time. Only by killing the Thunder Blade and completely conquering the Liang civilization after the rise of the previous being who could support the entire Liang civilization can the threat of the Liang civilization be eliminated. You know, you'll go with him to meet Thunder Blade. The main god of Mocha civilization, Island, was also vague about the necessity of killing Thunder Blade, and in those few days, Yungxiao Tianting proved to us its defensive power. If you want to break through the celestial warship, it seems that you can only think of a way from the inside. And it just so happens that we don't have a way to break a big hole under the shield of Yungxiao. This is the void space blade kindly provided by Karl, the Lord God of the Styx galaxy. According to Ming Yi, who provided the weapon, the space-time blade can affect a wide range of real space before it is activated, causing the physical rules of a certain area to fall into chaos. Lapinzhen has conducted experiments and found that the shields of the Holy Separation Fleet's motherships can be easily cut open. According to scientific researchers, it is the ordinary energy under the space-time blade that disrupts the energy arrangement of the shields, thus causing a wide range of energy. Signs of collapse. Originally, La Panzan wanted to ask Master Mingyi to provide some of those weapons, but Mingyi mysteriously disappeared recently, which made me believe that the Ming Riverside had given up cooperation with us. But even if Styx gives up supporting us, the war will still continue, according to the news from the hidden stakes planted in the blazing sun. The Sunlight God-making project has entered its most advanced stage, and the initial debugging will be completed soon. By then, the blazing sun will usher in our new main god, and the name of the sun god, which has been vacant for thousands of years in the universe, will also usher in his successor. The operation to infiltrate the Yungxiao heavenly court went smoothly. Ailan and La Xiaoyang each led a part of their elite troops to invade the Yungxiao heavenly court, but they encountered a stubborn resistance from the Liang army. Liang seemed to have known for a long time that no one could attack or retreat, so he had deployed a complete force to attack him. But Liang, the young general who set up the defense line and was stationed here, probably also thought that it was the two main gods who sneaked into the Yungxiao heavenly court to cause destruction. Unexpectedly, General Liang blocked the coalition forces for a while and then fell to Xiaoyang's bow. If only one main god came, young General Liang could still contain them for a while, but if two main gods attacked at the same time, young General Liang would not be able to block them. Without the core of young General Liang, the remaining Liang army was quickly attacked by the elite coalition forces. As the defense lines were breached one after another, Xiao Yanjian and Lapinzhen finally led their troops to the Yungxiaoshan Palace. Lei Ren was already wearing a military uniform and holding a long spear, leading the right and left Xian guards waiting there.